I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It's, let me get seated here. I feel like back in the olden days when I was a police officer and would put on the vest. You know, it's just only a police officer knows what it's like. Put on that vest. There's a couple ways to do it. Some freaks, I don't understand these people. These people are legitimately psychopaths that would put on the vest on their bare skin. Whoa, freakish. That's weird. But most people, you put on your white shirt or your black shirt or whatever color shirt you want, black or white mostly. And then you put on your vest over that. And then they would put on their uniformed. I didn't do that. I put on a very tight white shirt, then my vest, then a shirt over that to keep the vest tight and in place, and then my uniform shirt. And there were good, I've talked about this before. You guys think I'm freaks. I am freakish. There were good vest days and bad vest days. When bad vest days, when you got it all cockeyed and you feel weird and you just, there's nothing. It's like when you got a sock turned around sideways. For you people that weren't cops, it's like having a sock turned sideways around and you just can't get it all day long. It's like you're wearing like a tube sock or something and you're doing something and you just can't stop and get it. You got to like literally, like there would be times I'd be like, all right, I got to go take all this crap off and fix it. So that's kind of what's going on right now. I sat down weird in the chair. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. We've got a show for you all tonight. And I got this smell good thingy hanging right above me. You can't see it. It's hanging like right here's my hand. Here's the camera. And right here at the tip of my finger, that smell good thingy is hanging. And it's really good, but it's like almost too good. I'm going to have to make it. Might be making me high. You guys said that last night. I might actually be getting a little bit of a buzz from it. I might have to move it a little bit. It's like a little like, a little overpowering. Carpentry class tonight. What are we talking about? Carpentry.
Well, between the title and you talking about getting high, wasn't there an old comedian who used to talk about people get high and then they build shit?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So between the title and you getting high, we're doing carpentry tonight?
Yes, maybe.
Okay. Just
We are we are building, that's a song. Cake. We are building a religion. A limited edition. We are now calling, I don't know I forget the lyrics. Anyways, all right. That was weird. Okay, so here's the deal. We got a show for you all. No, it's not. No, Sarge. It's not a CBD diffuser. It's even better. It's a Kristopher Bilbrey. It's a Bilbrey and Clark show, freshie, hangy down thingy, so I can see my beautiful face staring back at me while I'm doing the show. I got my face right here. I've got my face on my monitor. I've got my face on this computer. I've got my face over here. I've got my I've got my face above me. You can't tell that I'm a Leo. All right. So, listen, we got some things to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about the local. I've got some thoughts on the local political parties here in Delaware County, and it's going on everywhere, but specifically here in Delaware County, Indiana. We're going to be talking about some local Delaware County Republican Party and the local Delaware County Democratic Party, what they're currently doing. I mean, we are in the final days of the lead up to the midterm election. You know, are you all ready for this? Are you all prepared for this? Do you know? Let's see. Let's take a look at this. Days between September 29th, 2025 and January 1st, 2026. Man, I'm even afraid to look at this. Oh, no. 94 days. 94 days until January 1st. 94 days until January 1st. So let me explain to you what that means. We are in the final days. We are in the final days of the lead up to the 2026 midterm elections. That means it's almost over. If you're not prepared, if you're not already preparing to run, it's almost too late to say, all right, I think I'll run. You need to be preparing that already. Now, you've still got time. We still have time. There will be a 30-day filing period in January into the first week of January into the first week of February where people can file, but we need to be doing it. It needs to be happening right now. We're in the final days. So these political parties are preparing. They are doing things. They're getting ready. Or they should be getting ready. If they're not getting ready, why? What are they doing? What's the issue? What are we waiting for? Okay, so we're going to be talking about that. That's the building benches. I called and told my grandma could not get benches out. She was saying everything but benches. Free speech battles continue. We got some weirdness to talk about. Larry Riley comes out of retirement to write up a story about what's currently going on in this free speech, political speech, political ignorance from both sides insanity that we've got going on. So we're going to talk about that. That's the free speech battles continue. And then the last part there, the PAC. Now, PAC can mean many different things. So, politically, a lot of times it means the Political Action Committee. It does not mean that in tonight's episode. It means the Public Access Counselor. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Public Access Counselor, Jennifer Ruby. We're going to be talking about some record requests. We're going to be talking about some thoughts about record requests. We're going to be talking about some status of where I've talked. Finally, Braun has been in now since January. And Luke Britt left no forwarding address. Can't even get a hold of this guy. This guy like left Twitter and everything. He was like out of it. Jennifer Ruby comes in, and I've been trying to get a hold of her since her first day, and I've been having struggles. And Ruby and I finally had a conversation, and I got to talk to you about our conversation. And I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a teaser. I'm not hopeful. So that's not a good thing. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I noticed last night we did not read the op-ed that I said we would read about the solar deal. So we'll try to read that. I said we would try to read it. That's important. We will get to that. So that's what's happening. Yeah, Kate, that was kind of what was happening there. That was what was going on. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, if you would not mind, before we get started here, before we get too carried away, if you would smash that like button. Hit that like button. Let's just get it done and over with. If you're here on Facebook, welcome. Thank you. We love you. And if Facebook, if you're like, Facebook is where I'm going to watch you from, there's nothing I can do about it. I get it. If you are so inclined, if you could find it in your heart to leave Facebook and switch to YouTube, that would be fantastic. It would be helpful. That helps us out a lot. If you could help us there, that would be cool. What do we got here? Oh, I see what's going on. Thank you, Jackie, for what you just did there. I saw that. If you want to watch us on YouTube, there's the link, youtube.com/@thepoliticalspotlight. Just go to YouTube and type in @thepoliticalspotlight, and it'll come right up. Or you can watch us on Rumble. There's 2 Facebook accounts there. There's a Twitter account there, X, whatever you want to call it. There's also the studio line. If you're so inclined, you want to text or call. Texts are always more appreciated than phone calls, and then we can set up a phone call at some point if need be, but texts are the good way to do it. I'm trying to weed out some of my phone calls because I'm getting too many, taking too many. Honestly, I'm going to have to kidnap someone and hire them on as keep them, in a cage or something and have them answer calls for me. And then there's my email, khbilbrey@gmail.com, and then there's the show email, tpsprogram@gmail.com. So there's that. Okay, hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, maybe consider subscribing to the channel and do all that. That's fun. So, okay. I saw this while floating around in social media world earlier. I saw this post, and I looked at it, and I was poking around and trying to get inside the picture a little bit and see what we had. I couldn't really see a whole lot what was going on. Oh my God. Am I not going to be able to find it now? Oh man, I'm going to be so mad if that's the case. MySpace. Give me a second here. I'm going to be so mad if that is the case. Oh, I know where it's at. Never mind. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, yep, I got it right here. So I was scrolling through, and listen, I listen to news from all sides, straight down the middle, on the right, on the left, crazy right, crazy left. I read things on all of that sides. I interact with people on social media from all sides. And it's kind of like a cancer, and I can't help it. It rots your brain. It definitely does, but I take it all in. I think that's very important. So one of the things that I was scrolling around on, I was scrolling around earlier on Muncie Resists Facebook page. Now the intro, I'm going to read you this intro. Muncie Resists fights against the destructive MAGA agenda and champions democracy through community, education, and advocacy. Okay. So that's that. That's what their thing is about. So I was looking at a post that was posted earlier, and it says that, first of all, the Delaware County Democratic page made a post on the 26th of September that says, want to make a difference in advancing good things for Muncie and Delaware County? Join us tomorrow morning, anytime between 9 and 11 a.m. to learn more about how you can meaningfully volunteer your time and talents to the Delaware County Democratic Party. Donuts, coffee, and juice will be served. And then the picture says, be a trailblazer. Democrat volunteer call out September 6, 13, 20, 27, 9 to 11 a.m. Okay. Now, I don't see anything about any major like teaching thing that they're doing for the Democrat Party or whatever, like how to be precinct committee people or whatever, like on that page that was coming up that was like going to be held today or tomorrow or whatever. They did do a thing back on the 21st where they had volunteers come in and they had paperwork to help them sign up, show where they were if they were interested. And listen, I talked about this a little bit last week, and I said they didn't have a great turnout at that specific event, but they had more people than I thought they would have. And the Democrats, listen, you've got to be honest about this. The Democrats, the local Democrat Party, whether you like, don't like, hate, support, whatever your thought is about the party, they have been packing in a large crowd. Now, I will tell you, it's not a large crowd of people that I have seen before or know these people. I know of them, but they're not the old school Muncie Democrats. These are a new breed of Democrats. I'm probably going to get some heat for saying that. Saying that, it's like a dawning of a new day, a new breed of soldier, a new breed of police officer. That's what I mean by that. A new breed of Democrats, a new group of people in the Democratic Party. And it looks from the folks that I saw to be people that are more left than the old factory working blue dog Democrats. They're not the Audie Barber Democrats. Okay, progressive, if you will. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, here's what I'm telling people. They are packing people in. So it's not like the party's just dying and going away. They are packing them in. As the people who are the standout Democrats are leaving, or the old school Democrats are getting older, or whatever they're doing, groups like Muncie Resist are saying, we'll rise to the occasion. So in this event yesterday, was this yesterday or was this? No, it was 3 hours ago. It was tonight. Muncie Resist made a post 3 hours ago that says, "Full house tonight at our precinct committee person call out. If you weren't able to make it tonight, no worries. We're happy to fill you in and answer all your questions. Just drop us a note. This is what democracy looks like." And it is I don't know where this is. It looks like it's a classroom setting. And I think someone said that it might be at the student center when they were here before, because I know that Andrew Dale held an event here. I think it might be at the student center. Maybe I'm wrong on that. If someone knows, I'm going to put this picture up here and let you guys see this. I'm going to put this up here. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. There we go. Here's this. Okay. And so we have Sarah Vitale leading the discussion and Maring Hunt Library. I don't know why I always forget that. It's Maring Hunt Library. That is exactly right. Jackie with the win. Thank you again. I think you're the person that told me last time. I don't understand why I have a hard time remembering what that is. So yes, you are correct, ma'am. Thank you. So that is that. That's Mary Hunt Library, and they're putting on this event there. Looks like they had a good grouping of people. Okay. And so this is the people who will be active in the Democrat Party. And so people out there need to know that. Okay. Sarah Vitale, her blurb says, Dr. Sarah Vitale received a PhD in philosophy. Her dissertation was entitled Marx. And when I say Marx, I'm specifically, that's like Karl Marx and the metaphysics of production. Dr. Vitale's research focuses on Marx and post-Marxism, especially on notions of production, creativity, and utopia, and their development in Marx and post-Marxist texts, as well as contemporary feminism, gender studies, and so on and so forth. So just understand that's where we're coming from, okay? Now, I want to say, when I'm saying this, that the Republican Party in Delaware County, also seems to be attempting to rebuild and rebrand themselves. Both parties here locally have new chairs, and they're doing that. So that's it is what it is. Both chairs seem to be having a lot of influence from other outside forces. Like, for example, Andrew Dale is the chairman of the Democratic Party, but he's getting a lot of outside forces from Muncie Resist and other activist groups in Muncie, while the Republican chair, Tim Overton, seems to be getting a lot of his outside influence from Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour, County Commissioner Stephen Brand, and other people like that. The one thing I can tell you, and I'm happy about this, and I'm very, from my point of view, happy that in the past it has been difficult for me as number one, I'm a citizen first and foremost. Number two, I am media. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. I'm a political commentator that falls under the greater platform of media. And so I have at times attempted to talk to the leadership of both parties and have found that difficult, if not impossible, to do in the past. And one thing I can tell you is I could pick up the phone and call Tim Overton right now. I could pick up the phone and call Andrew Dale right now, and both of them would answer the phone. And I have had an easier time getting a hold of them. For the last several years in Delaware County and in Madison County and in Henry County and in Jay County and Randolph County, in many different counties, I have been blocked from attending the Lincoln Day dinners held by the Republican Party. I consider myself a constitutional conservative leaning libertarian, a constitutional libertarian leaning conservative, a God-fearing person that believes in personal responsibility, live and let live, small government. And so I'm not happy with a lot of Republicans currently locally at the state level or at the federal level. I'm just going to be honest. But I'm not happy with the progressives either, okay? But I align, like if I'm aligning myself with either group, I'm going to align locally or at the state level even, with or at the federal level, on the Republican side of things. And I've been extremely upset that the reason the Republicans have not wanted me to join with them and break bread at this yearly event has been because I've dared to ask questions of Dan Ridenour or other Republicans. And I have said for a long time that them blocking me and others is such a bad look for them, because the parties are supposed to be bringing people into the fold. I am happy to announce this year I am not being blocked for the first time in a long time from the Lincoln Day dinner. I have my ticket this year, and I have my ticket already purchased, and I will be attending the Lincoln Day dinner with no hassle. So I'm happy about that. I guess what I'm saying is it feels like, rightly or wrongly, no matter what side you support, that at least locally, both of these sides are realizing that we are coming to the crossroads here. We've got 94 days until the new year. The new year is the midterm, and it's time to start building the bench out. We need to build the Republican bench out. For the love of God, the Democrats need to build their bench out. We need fresh people, new faces, new choices to choose from. Man, I remember back in like the late 80s and early 90s when the primaries were filled with 2 or 3 or 4 people running as Republicans for one seat. So when you went to the ballot in May, you had the ability to choose for the very best out of 3 people. If you've got 2 people that suck, it's like, ugh. Or if you've got 1, or if you've got none, you know you're screwed because they're just going to appoint the person after the primary. So we need to get back to where we have more people to run. Now, there's this thing, and both sides do it, where they don't want to primary each other. And I'm here to tell the citizens, I'm here to tell you, don't let them tell you no. If you're interested in running for local office or state office, and you meet the criteria, then run and do it well and run with seriousness and go to the party and push your way in. You know, that's the thing. Audie, right or wrong, he's there, and when he goes into the Democrat Party and the Democrats start talking goofy, he says, "I'm not all about that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wear a dress to support something I don't agree with. I'm not going to do this. Audie is the, in reality, he's like he's more Republican leaning today, but he's a blue dog, old style Kennedy-crat Democrat. Okay. But he's like, I'm not selling out. I'm not jumping to the Republican side because I don't agree with things here. I'm just going to be me, and they can like it or not, but I'm not leaving. And I can respect that. He doesn't support things that he doesn't agree with. He supports what he believes in, and that's that. But inside your party, you should feel safe to be able to question things. That's what they don't like. That's what Kate says. Kate says, she believes that the reason I've been blocked is she thinks it's more that I will break the quote-unquote 11th commandment. And love Reagan, but Reagan's the one that started this nonsense. Thou shalt not talk negative of a fellow Republican. Dude, that's the whole idea of just total insanity, in my opinion. When you're a police officer and you see another police officer acting badly, you have to call that police officer out, or you're just as dirty. When you're a preacher or a priest and you know that there's a fellow preacher, priest, or rabbi, or whatever the religious belief is, hurting kids, and you don't call that person out, you're just as bad. When you're a construction worker and you know there's another construction worker that's ripping people off, that's using subpar material, that's stealing money, that's not cutting corners, you have a duty to report this person and to call that person out, or you're just as bad. When you're a Republican, if you can't say, wait a minute, I don't like what's currently going on in the Ridenour administration with this budget situation, I think we need to get a handle on this. If you don't have the space to say that in your own party, if they can't take that, how are they ever going to be able to fight against the other side that definitely doesn't agree with them. You know, that's the whole thing with Ridenhour. If you put Ridenhour in a room and made us talk about our beliefs out loud, Ridenhour and I probably agree on far more things than we disagree on. There are just some serious things that we disagree on. And because he is my elected official, because I supported him for 2 years, because I warned him ahead of time, I feel as though I have a right to call him out. And when all of these other smooth-brained, window-licking Republicans say, well, I don't like how you talk about Ridenhour, because it bothers them, go home, take your baba, lay down, let mama burp you, and let the big boys talk. Cat dragged in. That's really important. I mean, both sides do that. We all do that. People need to do it. And we do need to do that. It needs to be a case-by-case basis. I agree with that. Joan Ashley said Democrat Party in Randolph County recognized Fred Davis at the Wilson dinner. When is that guy going to go away? What are they still doing? Who's leading the Democrat Party in Randolph County? I don't know who that is. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to read your mouth, but yeah. I like him as a person. I like Tito. You watch sometimes, Tito. If you're out there watching, thank you, welcome. He's pretty whacked out, and he's one of those people that he's like, you know, believes in giving reverence to, you know, to Fred Davis. Fred Davis is a dirt ball, is a bad guy. Joan, I love it. I love it. Oh, I love Joan. So I don't know. It's just we're getting down. And listen, that's the other thing. So you, as a person out here in the wild, maybe you say, I don't want to be a part of any party. You can still participate. You can still support individual candidates. You can still campaign against other candidates. I always say this every year. I normally say it as the election unfolds, as we get in the last couple of weeks from the election, about the time early voting starts. You know, all of the nonsense that we post on Facebook all the time. Memes and what we're eating and pictures of cats and videos of parents wiping chocolate and peanut butter all over themselves to make it look like their baby pooped on them or something like that, like pranks and all that. Imagine, you can still do every bit of that, but imagine if just once in a 24-hour period, you would post, hey, the election's coming close. Get to know your candidates, or I support candidate A, B, and C, or this is why I don't support candidate A, B, and C. Or if you're reading this and you're a friend of mine, I love you and I care about you. And I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. On the local level and really on the state level, it doesn't matter as much. And I'm asking you to vote for A, B, and C, or I'm asking you to vote against A, B, and C. Imagine if you would set up your phone, your signature in your phone that, people normally have their name and their phone number. If you would just set up your signature to say, remember to go vote on Tuesday, May, da-da-da-da-da, or Tuesday, November, da-da-da-da-da, how many people that would help? If you would tell people, hey, you can get registered by going to indianavoters.com. It takes you 3 minutes, and you need your driver's license or your driver's license number, and your phone, a computer, a tablet. Takes you 3 minutes, and right there it is there. You can do it. It's very easy. We could really make a difference. We could really make a difference. If we just had more people that were eligible to vote. See, we have a large grouping of people who are registered and don't vote. So maybe we need to let them roll off, and maybe we need to work on getting more people registered. And I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what the numbers are in this next election, because I think after this Charlie Kirk thing, I think we're going to see a lot of people that are going to be registered. We're going to see new people that are going to be registered. I think we're going to see younger people that are registered, and I love it. I went and spoke to a group of, I went and spoke a couple times. I went and spoke to this group, and it was a great group. Great questions. Good. It was a group of men. Men about town, if you will. And these were some movers and shakers. People who were... It was rather interesting. I've not got the okay, or I've not been given the clearing, like I can say what this group is, so I'm not going to out them. But someone reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to come speak in front of my group? And I was like, what about? Why? Do they know me? Like, do your people know? Like, are you trying to get kicked out of that group? Because normally people in public have to, like, even my friends, like, we pretend like we're not friends, because I don't want anyone to get in trouble because they are friendly with me. And that does happen. Believe me, people get in trouble because they are friendly to me. And so he's like, yeah, we've been, this person watches the show frequently. Not like he's not like Stumblefoot, or he's not like Alva, but this person watches, doesn't ever comment, watches in the shadows, which I have far more people that watch in the shadows than will ever comment. And I love it. I love it. It is, Amanda. I mean, listen, it is. It's sad that that's the world we live in. I don't care. Like, I'm fine with it. I've been doing this long enough. I have skin that is impenetrable. So does not bother me one bit. We've actually turned it into like a joke. You know what I mean? But it is sad that that's the world that we live in, but I'm okay with it, because let me tell you, at the end of the day, I'm a very loyal person, and my friends are very loyal. And listen, I have some people who just tell people, hey, look, this is my friend, and if you don't like it, you can go pound sand. And those people are the people to me that are like, those are my people, because at the end of the day, they just don't, Kate's one of those people. Brandon's one of those people. I've got a lot of people like that. And so those people are family. But then I have friends, and I don't care, because I would never want somebody, because look, I say crazy shit, and I don't want someone to get in trouble because they might agree with me or whatever. So I get it. I'm okay with that. But this group asked me to come talk, and I did, and it was a great group. It was a large group of people. There were a large group of people there. But the thing that bothered me was, so I'm somewhere between 40 and 45, whatever age I am. I'm not close to my stupid me. I wasn't born on a 10s year or a 5s year, so I can't ever figure out how actually old I am. So we'll just play it safe, say I'm somewhere between 42 and 45, because I can't do that math in my mind. All right, whatever. So 43 or 44, something like that. Then there was a person at that group that was close to me in age, within 5 years both. He's definitely not older than me. He might be. I went to high school with him, I think. I think we went to high school together. I've known this guy for a long time. Somewhere. I think we went to high school. I think he was younger than me, whatever. And then there was maybe another person that might have been 10 years older than me. And then from there, like, there were 2 people in the group that were celebrating their 94th birthday. They were 90, like 93 and 94. And these old guys, they looked like they were 80. They were driving. They were doing good. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I love it. Those guys are like 94 and they're still like badasses. But it's sad to me that we don't have a younger crowd. And I told them, we need a younger crowd. It's like the Masonic Lodge. It's, the Masons all shriveled up and went away because that, the whole to be one, ask one. They didn't recruit. You had to ask one to get in, and they didn't continue recruiting younger people. So everybody's 300 years old, and 333. Wink, wink. But anyways, I was thinking about saying something, but I don't want to get my tongue ripped out or whatever, so we'll just go on. Anyways, so that really threw me off. We need to work on getting younger people, and so I'm hoping that these parties are doing that. I have a little bit of a feeling that the Republican Party is doing that. Here's my worry. The Democrat Party, at least locally in Delaware County, is definitely doing that, because the resist people are all younger people. They're all working on they're all the college people. And so I'm really speaking out to the Republicans here, man. You're doing a better job at opening it up and letting people come back and letting people be a part of things. You really need to start going out and making the party look attractive to the younger people. Just an FYI, we're building the benches. We need to build the benches. It's important. So that's my rundown. I will keep you guys all posted on how the Lincoln Day dinner goes. See, this is the thing. They finally got it. I ordered my ticket. It went through. Everything went through. Everything was fine. It was wonderful. Let me tell you a story of a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, I had went the last Lincoln Day dinner. I used to attend these all the time on the Democrat side and the Republican side. The last one I attended locally here in Delaware County was 2019. And it's because I was supporting Right Now, or I was running, and they were like, oh, yeah, cool. I was all part of the team. All part of the team. And then once Ridenour got elected and I started asking questions, then I was no longer part of the team. Well, there were these people that I knew that were, and I think we've talked about it. I think I can talk about it. So, Brittany Clower was running for office against J.D. Prescott. And Brandon and Brittany invited me to go to the Delaware County Lincoln Day dinner with them. And they were buying their tickets, and they were going to buy my tickets. And so they bought the 3 tickets because they were like, well, you go. And I was like, I'll buy my own ticket. And they're like, no, we'll cover you since we invited you. And I was like, okay, cool. Absolutely, Kate. And so they bought the 3 tickets, and they had wrote the tickets for me. The tickets for me, my husband, and Kristopher Bilbrey. And someone contacted her back and was like, "Oh, sorry, he's not allowed to come. He's part of the media. We don't allow him to come." And she was running for office. She really needed to go. And this is what true friends do. Brittany and Brandon said, well, screw that. If he don't get to go, I'm not coming. So here's your tickets, refund the money, and have at it. So that's what true friends do, and I respect that. And, she put herself in harm's way because as a candidate, she really needed to go. But she's like, nope, that's not fair. I don't agree with that. And I haven't been to one since. And I've attempted, and I've tried to order tickets, and they tell me basically my money's no good there. And when they do that, like I normally, they start selling the tickets, a month and a half in advance. And as soon as they let me know that I'm banned or barred, I come on here and I'm like, well, the Republicans are screwing up. They're not letting me come. And then I get to talk about it between now and when the event is held. And then the night the event's held, I'm like, well, I could be at the party. See you later, Eric. I could be at the party, but they don't have me there. So, no big deal. I'm having a better night here talking to you people, blah, blah, blah. They're just, all doing the same thing they do. But I get to talk about it for so long. But when they say, oh, no, you can come, there's nothing for me to say. I'm like, well, they invited me. That's cool. They're doing a good job. I love it. Keep it up. And then I don't talk about it again. And then I go to that night and we have a good time. And we mingle and ask some questions and have good time. And, I come out and say, hey, I had a good time. I asked some questions. Some people answered. Some people didn't. And it was what it was. It is what it is. So I think they're learning. I hope they're learning. I hope they're finally learning. Time will tell. So they just need to remember they're trying to build something that they need to have many, many, many support people in. Kate says, I fully expect for you to be banned again after this year just because it's you. Well, you never know. To be continued, ... All right. So that's my thought on that. They need to do something. Hopefully they will. And hopefully we'll see the parties build. It's the whole marketplace of ideas. It's the whole big thing. We want to be able to communicate and have different ideas. And I hope they're allowing that and they're opening that space. That now takes us into the second topic of tonight, which is the fact that the free speech that we all know, well, some of us know and love, it's all catty-wampered. Free speech battles continue, and it's just so crazy to me. It's probably the the best example of this that I have is when Scalia died as the as an amazing Supreme Court justice, an amazing jurist, amazing constitutional mind. When he died, and Obama's like, all right, now it's my time. I'm gonna. I used to be able to do a pretty good Obama. I can't do it anymore. But he was like, I'm gonna replace this judge before my term ends. We're gonna get it in, and the Republicans lost their mind. No, you can't do that. You got to wait till the next president comes in. You can't do it. And then immediately, the very next time that the shoe's on the other foot, Trump is in office. I will never forget this. I was out walking on the road behind my house, and I was like way far down the road, and I got the alert popped up on my phone that RBG died. And I ran my fat ass home. First time I had ran since the last time I ran, which was after a suspect when I was a police officer. And then I was on the radio going, next time, I'm just going to run you over with my car. Okay. I came home and I was like, please, Trump, just don't mention this. Say, oh, that's a horrible death and that's bad, whatever. Just don't make this a thing. Just don't make this a thing. And instantly it was like, oh, we're gonna replace her tomorrow. And instantly the Republicans are like, yes, we can do this. This is his right. And the Democrats were like, no, you can't do this. Don't do it. You can't do it. And this is the whole thing I used to tell Tweety Bird. I think we've had a fallen comrade. Now, she's still alive. I'm glad. I hope. I'm not seeing her or heard from her, but I think last time she left was when Charlie was shot, and she called us all crazy, and I think she bowed out. But I used to, like, this was what's crazy to me. Both of the parties were wrong. The Republicans didn't want Obama to do it when Obama was in the White House. The Republicans didn't want it to happen. But Obama did because he was a Democrat, and his fellow Democrats wanted him to do it. But then when Trump was in the White House, Trump wanted to replace the judge, and his Republicans wanted him to, but the Democrats didn't want him to. And then they both stand back and they're both like, we're both right. We're both right. And it's like, oh God, that is the thing that's makes me literally want to beat my head into the concrete. You're both idiots. And that's the best example of what is currently going on. Yeah, it's that rules for thee, not for me bullshit. Absolutely. It's the best example of what's going on. Democrats are in control. Republicans are getting canceled. Everybody loves that Trump's getting kicked off Twitter. Cancel culture is striking everybody, everything. People are getting shadow banned, throttled. All this nonsense is happening. The Republicans are like, this is horrible. We should have free speech. Free speech, And then now the shoe's on the other foot. And the Republicans are like wanting to fire everybody. And the Democrats are like, no, we love free speech. We are don't cancel me and all that. And it's just like, dude, my ex-wife used to say, have you ever been in such a bad mood, like you pissed your own self off? You were like, oh God, I'm in such a bad mood. I just need to leave everybody alone. I need to time to myself. I'm such a hateful hag, such an asshole that I just need to stop. I'm dangerous to everyone. I just wish everyone right now would just think that about themselves. And they just need to be like, I just need to stop talking. I need to stop talking. Everyone was cheering for Jimmy Kimmel to be taken. I don't even know what Kimmel said. Like, it wasn't funny. That's the biggest offensive thing, is Kimmel's just not funny anymore. He hasn't been funny in a long time. That's the worst thing about it. But Kimmel did what Kimmel does. His ratings are terrible. And he said some nonsense or whatever he does, whatever. And the Republicans all want him kicked off and whatever, or they're cheering that other people are kicking him off, and that Disney's going to get rid of him and all these people, and they're like, oh, it's not us, it's that, but they're cheering it. And it's like, don't you remember back when they were like wanting to shut down Rush Limbaugh, and they were wanting to take him off all the rate, and we were going nuts, and it's like the whole idea of, you can't stop it. It's so frustrating to me that people can't see the ignorance of what they're participating in, that they're so ramped up about needing to be right. They're so ramped up about the hatred of the other person, and not because they actually have this hatred, but because someone else told them that they hated the other person. I still go back to thinking, I don't believe there's as much hate in the world as it's truly there. I think it is a perceived, believed hatred that people are brainwashed into believing that they have. And it's like, Republicans, do you not know one day, Trump is not going to be in office? I fully believe that will be in 3 years and a couple months. I don't believe he's going to be a dictator. I don't believe he's going to do another term. I will not want that to happen, and I would fight against that. There will be other people that will stop that from happening. That's not going to happen. There will be people that stop that. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that he is. That he does. That he is a dictator, and he's going to be the American dictator for life, for the rest of his life. He's not 20 years old. He's in his 80s, 79 or something like that. Eventually, he is not going to be around. It's just the nature of the beast. The nature of how shit works. And there might be another Republican after him. But eventually, the Democrats will be in charge. Trump is 79. That's what I thought. I thought I just had that discussion with my grandparents the other day. He's 79. That's the other thing. Everybody's like, oh, he's the oldest president. They want him to be so old. People want him to be feeble and senile. You know what? When I hear Joe Biden is a complete nutcase, that doesn't make me cheer. I'm not happy about that. I'm disgusted. I have dealt with dementia and seen people that I love and care about have dealt with it and been affected by it. My ex-wife's grandfather dealt with it for 10 plus years, and it was hell on earth. It is. I'm convinced it's worse than cancer. That dementia is worse than cancer. I truly believe that. So I don't say like, ha, ha, ha. And look, everybody makes jokes or like, we'll joke. I'll joke. Like the other day, I was joking about my grandpa and the Herbert Hatfield thing. You make jokes, whatever, but you're not mean-spirited with it. I legitimately felt bad about it. But you've got these people now that are like, yeah, Trump's the oldest president, because they are truly wanting him to be as feeble and senile, and they want something to be wrong with him just because it's like, okay, now look, it's your guy now. And it's like, yeah, dude, why are we like that? That's so gross. That's so gross. But this speech thing, 2 days ago, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita made a Facebook post. Here's the cheerleading coach from Hamilton Southeastern. Concerned parents can contact Superintendent Patrick Mapes. If you do contact him, concerned parents, if you do contact Pat Mapes, tell him I said hey, and remind him that Kristopher Bilbrey is that little guy back in, for those of you that I've told a story on this show before, but I just told it on the other show, the deal about me not going out to field day and because my dad told me, I could do whatever I wanted as long as I paid the consequences. Pat Mapes was that assistant principal that dealt with me, that called my dad. So tell Pat Mapes I said hi. He used to be the principal, and he was assistant principal and principal at Delta, the school I went to. So tell him I said hey, and then hang up and don't say anything to him about cancel culture bullshit. So that's nuts. But the fact that our Attorney General of Indiana is more concerned with some words, Now listen, consequences. I still say I like what El Presidente, the Dave Portnoy said, that the free market takes care of things, and consequences are real and they are existing out there. But everybody needs to slow their roll on this witch hunt free speech thing that's going on. It's so insane to me. It is so nuts. It's so crazy. Because the guy didn't even, I don't even know what this guy said. It wasn't even like that bad. But something I find interesting, because and the flip side of this is now we've got the Ball State professor that got fired, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. I am a constitutionalist. I called for Steve Knipp to resign because he was an appointed person, public servant, that called for violence He called for violence to occur. I do not believe that's the same thing that the professors did from Ball State. And I can give you, it's not like it's just my feeling. I can point to their speech and tell you, and I would say, please show me where they called for violence. They did not call for violence. I did not, I don't see anywhere they called for violence. If you can point somewhere where they called for violence, I will look at that. Rokita is the Attorney General. Him calling for someone to be fired is a First Amendment free speech violation. Yeah, that's what the First Amendment is there for. It's to protect us from the government. Rokita is the government attempting to hurt us. Right, wrong, or indifferent. You know? If free speech doesn't come without consequences, it's not worth speaking. I agree. When we're talking about you and me as citizens against the government, you're not protected, or I'm not protected from free speech against you. Like, if I say something that you don't like, you have the right to turn me off. You have the right to not watch. You can write me and tell me how horrible and awful I am. You can, if I have a boss, you can write my boss and tell me. You can tell Kate how horrible I am. Do whatever. You can go to court and sue me for some reason and try to win or whatever. If someone works at McDonald's and they're saying racist crap in the parking lot, and their boss says, I don't like what this is doing to our brand, I don't like what it's doing to our restaurant, they can be fired, and that's not a free speech violation. Because McDonald's isn't the government. And that's not that. I think there's people who've done that before, Kate. You know? Oh, God, what is that? What have I done? Oh, man. You know what I always do? I always forget what keyboard I'm on. You know? The First Amendment is very, very easy to understand. "45 words. 45 words in the First Amendment. Congress, doesn't say McDonald's, doesn't say Ball State University. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion." Okay, they shouldn't do that, can't do that. We'll stop them from doing that. They won't do that. We'll stop that. But that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about here, so we'll set that aside. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, religion. That's not happening. So we'll set that aside. Congress, okay, we'll go back to the top. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. And if Congress tries to do that, we have to fight them. Fight that. We have to stop that. Or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And it's not just Rokita. It's a lot of other big national conservatives and Republicans that just like, they're like, well, now it's our turn. And I'm like, that's not the way you think about this kind of stuff. That's nuts. Now it's our turn. Oh, that's crazy. You just cannot do that. So little old Muncie has made it all the way to the New York Times. New York Times has now covered the situation in Ball State. Yeah, that's right. They forget the golden rule. That's exactly correct. So now this is a thing, and it's like, man, I just feel like we have more important things that we could be doing. This woman, she was fired for a comment on her private Facebook account. A look at how one state has turbocharged the crackdown on anyone who has criticized Charlie Kirk after his death. Two days after Charlie Kirk was killed, Susan, whatever her weird-ass last name is, she tells us here in this, we'll just call her Suzanne, an employee at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, woke up to a cascade of missed calls, texts, and voicemail messages from numbers she did not know. They were calling me all kinds of names, using their First Amendment right to do so, I guess, threatening my job. Miss Suzanne said it was every awful curse word under the sun. I immediately texted my supervisor and I said, I think I have a situation. Swartz, her last name is Swartz, Suzanne Swartz, discovered the barrage stemmed from something she had posted on Facebook the day before. If you think Charlie Kirk was a wonderful person, we can't be friends. What's wrong with saying that? Are we all friends with everybody? What's wrong with saying that? You're allowed to not like somebody. Republicans are now saying that we have to include everybody. Haven't we spent the last several years saying the exact opposite of that? I'll be honest. The guy that went in and wanted the picture of Charlie Kirk made up at Kinko's, and Kinko's told him no. Sounds very much like the couple that wanted to go in and have the gay cake made. You know, what side of this are we on? We got to pick a lane and stay in it, man. It's nuts. If you think Charlie Kirk was a wonderful person, we can't be friends. Her Facebook settings were private, but one of her followers must have taken a screenshot and sent it on without her knowledge. Within hours, libs of TikTok, a social media account known for transphobic content and smear campaigns against schools, hospitals, and libraries, posted it publicly on its popular X account. Mr. Swartz got her first message 19 minutes later. Elon Musk posted about it. So did Rudy Giuliani. Indiana's Attorney General Todd Rokita also mentioned it on X, calling her comments vile and saying that they should make people question someone's ability to be in a leadership position. Which I'm okay if he questions that. I'm okay with him saying, I don't like her comments, and that makes me question whether she should be in leadership. I'm okay with that. He's allowed to say that too. He's allowed to not like her. She's allowed to not like Charlie. I'm allowed to not like Todd or any of them. I don't like any of them. Truth be told, I don't like nobody. First of all, she wasn't a professor. So that's the first thing. So that's the first thing that we need to do here. She was a Ball State employee, not a professor. So I don't think it's affecting students. But I also think that, listen, when I was in college, if a professor of mine would have said, I don't like you, not young students, they're adults. We're not talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And I get what you're saying. Yes, they are kids. They're kids. But they're not babies. But when I was in college and a professor say, I don't like you because of your belief, I'd have been like, okay, I don't like you because you make me get up and come in here at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know? I don't like you because of your weird ass haircut. But I also don't care, and it don't matter. But we have to say, like, look, we as on this side of the aisle, we don't want, one of the things that we say is we don't want to be made to have to be friends with everybody. We understand there are people in this life, like everybody knows that. There are things that people disagree about, and that is okay as a human. You don't have to like everyone. Some people you don't like for certain reasons. You just don't know them, or you don't think about them. Some people you don't like for their thoughts or the things they say or do or their actions. And that's okay. It's okay for her to say, I didn't like him because of his thoughts or his actions. And the other thing is, now when she says, if you don't like Charlie Kirk, we can't be friends. That's kind of a common thing that people say as kind of a jokey joke. Like if you don't like chocolate, we can't be friends. Or if you don't like the Beatles, get out of here. Like, you're not even a human if you don't like Metallica. Like, that kind of stuff. It's like, how real is that comment? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm okay if here's what I think should have happened. People could have stopped giving money to the university, pledging university. Alumni could have stopped giving money. Students could have wrote in and protest to her boss or whatever. People could have wrote into the university and said, we think that she deserves a talking to or this or that. People could have protested and had the free market deal with that. But I just don't know. I don't know. Because one of these days, the pendulum's going to swing, and there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to understand what's happening. But I'm not going to be one. I'm going to be like, yep. That's what I hate, is when it swings back the other way, maybe I'm going to be affected by the fallout from this insanity. And that's what I hate. That's what I hate, is thinking that I'm going to be affected 4, 5, 8, not 10 years down the road when the pendulum swings the other way, and it will, because of this. It's interesting to me that she, some of the things she says that was interesting. September 12th was one of the worst days of my life. Now, I will say, yes, but you got up the next day and had a September 13th. Imagine how bad 2 days before was for Charlie Kirk because of you said something and you had a bunch of fallout because of the words you said. You don't like Charlie Kirk, and someone else didn't like him, and something crazy happened because of his words. Imagine how bad of a day he had on the 10th. That was probably a hard day. What's really crazy to me is the fact that Ball State came out and said that, like, she said this on her own thing, and everything's okay here. But then all of a sudden, then they went back on it, and it was like, all right, now we're fighting her, and we're gonna fire her. More than 145 people from around the country lost their jobs for posting negatively about Mr. Kirk. It might be a long time. It might be a long time. Let's say it's 50 years before the pendulum swings. Doing crazy shit that 4 years ago we were arguing against. Okay, let's say that it might be a long time, but it wasn't that long ago that the pendulum was on that other side, and we were fighting against this kind of shit. So that's just what I don't understand. I'm having a hard. No one has been able to sell me on something that has rectified this in my mind. That's where I'm at. I cannot get this rectified in my mind. Nothing's been able to smooth this out. Like, okay, it makes sense that 4 years ago, Trump's only been in office since January 20th. The Democrats were in control this time last year. This time last year, there was shit like this we were fighting against. Now here we are in September of 2025, and it's like, yeah, right. It's like halftime at a basketball game. Republicans and Democrats switch sides. Halftime comes and we all switch sides. Again, game on. Real crazy. The last thing I'm going to say about this before we move on, and I've got just one last quick thing I'm going to say, and talking about the PAC, but I want to talk about this. So this story made it all the way to the New York Times, but I want to say something else interesting happened, and that was if I had it here. Let me pull it up. soon as I did it. Delaware County. All right, here we go. Yeah, right here. It we made it all the way to the New York Times, but something almost crazier than that happened. And that was the fact that Larry Riley came out of retirement to write this article. Larry Riley, former reporter for the Muncie Star, who's now since long moved away from Muncie, writes, I'm as loyal a financially contributing Ball State alumnus as anyone can be, given my fiscal status, living in retirement more or less. I concentrate on donating to the program from which I got my master's in the first full information and communication science graduating class in 1988. Yet I have to admit I'm considering a pause in contributions. I was disturbed when I first read about the university's discharge of an employee for her online criticism of the late assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk. She made a commitment on a personal social media account open only to private audience, one member of whom evidently made the comment public. All I know about the now ex-employee's comment was that she could not be friends with anyone who thought Charlie Kirk was a wonderful person. No cheering his death, and I agree. No cheering his death, no excusing his killer, no support for violence, no expiration of the political karma, just an admission that Kirk was, and Larry says he believes this himself, given his documented assertions, racist, and if not misogynist, a man who clearly thought women have a place and that place is subservient to men. To oppose this is a firing offense, ? Ball State rightfully is limited to what the institution can say about an employee, and we can't know if this employee had prior incidents that raised questions or whether she was disciplined for past behaviors and on notice. I give some benefit of the doubt to the university, who did look at case law about public employees in leadership positions who undermine public employer standards. The BSU president is a lawyer who would have, I'm sure, acted carefully. Still, when he came on board Ball State in 2017, I was chagrined that the then Muncie mayor was on the stage at his presidential inauguration. I hope somebody close to the longtime federal prosecutor would have been more circumspect about Mayor destined soon to shame the community and serve time for corruption in federal prison. Now the American Civil Liberties Union has sued Ball State over the employee's retributive firing, and perhaps we'll eventually learn more. Clearly, this is not a good time to be a Hoosier who supports the U.S. and Indiana Constitution. What with the Republican supermajority running amok, poised to attack the state universities and free speech. Nor do I lament trimming the bureaucracy that has swollen in academia. This employee was Student Affairs Director of Health Promotions. Really? Regardless, I have to look for more information and deliver my future role as an alum of the university I love and a school with an outstanding legacy. So I think that this is interesting. I think it's interesting that he's writing about this again. This, in my opinion, is the first thing I've seen him write or share back in these parts since he retired and left. So, very, very, very interesting. I find it interesting to see what's happening on both sides and things that people are saying or doing. Now, before we move on and we get ready to wrap up here, I do have to cover this. Stumblefoot says people that didn't have anything good to say about Charlie, they should have just remained mute instead of typing out their feelings. Maybe told someone, maybe told their friends, in like voice over the phone, called somebody or whatever, they could have done that. As a First Amendment purist, I can't say that maybe they should have just remained mute, because as soon as I say that, as soon as I say, yeah, I agree with you, then someone's going to say that back to me. Look, we've had people that I've talked about, thought about, that have died, that I've covered. There are people who've been sick, people that I've argued with and fought with in the past that are sick, and currently there's someone that's sick now, and I pray for that person, and when I found out that person was sick, I said, like, man, this is horrible. I disagree with this person. I'm different just in how I live my life about that. Politics can be removed from aspects, or humanity can be removed from politics or put in it or whatever. That's how I live life. I can talk bad about, okay, let me give you a good example. There were a lot of issues that I had with Jane Lassiter. Jane Lassiter, former Delaware County Councilor. There were a lot of issues that I have with Jane, and I was hard on her in the last 2 or 3 years of her life. The moment that I found out that she had passed, none of that shit mattered. I talked about her. I talked about all the good things that I knew of her. I talked about her as a person that I have known for a very long time, and, said that I hate it for her family, yada, yada, yada. We went on now. Now, listen, I've got no problem talking about how the fact that, for the last several years that she was on the council, she would disappear and go to Florida and run it from, like, not being there or being, like, live streamed in. And I thought that's a joke. And she was really laying down on the job. I have no problem saying that. And there are people out there that'll be like, how dare you say that? She's dead. And I'll be like, okay, great. I hate that she's dead. And I thought the world of her as a person and whatever, but I can still talk about her politically. You can say things about Charlie Kirk and disagree with him and still say, man, it sucks that he's dead, but I didn't like this. I didn't like this. I didn't like this. I just can't get in line with, well, you just can't talk. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Because I got a lot of not nice things to say about people. And people will tell me to shut up as soon as I stay in line and say, well, if you don't have anything nice to say, you better not say it. I might as well turn my shit off and sell my gear and shut her down. So I don't know. I'm hoping that something happens and that there's been an awakening, and I'm happy with a lot of stuff that's going on, but I'm also needing some things to happen. Also, something I haven't talked about. There's a lot of weirdness going on about his death. There's a lot of people that are questioning things, and there's a lot of conspiracy, and some of it's wild, and some of it, like, I understand. And I don't think it's disrespectful to question things that are going on. I think you have to be very careful what you're buying into. You had people talking about how the fact that, it was It was a shot that came from the front. It was a shot that came from the back. Look, there was blood spatter that went out. And then look, as soon as the guy said, you can see the blood spatter from that angle, I'm like, I have a very close up from the side, and I can clearly see that it was either his necklace or his earpiece that flung off, and it was not blood spatter. Also, did these people forget everything they learned from the Zapruder film? And it's just like the Republican-Democrat thing. For the last, whenever the Zapruder film was showed, like 11 years after the Kennedy assassination, we've all been saying Kennedy got shot, he grabbed his neck, he's bending over to the left to where Jackie is, and then he gets the headshot, bang, and he goes back and to the left. And that's the whole reason we say it came from the front, because he was in a car moving forward. If the shot would have come from back, he would have continued on forward, but it knocked him back into the seat. Same thing with Charlie Kirk, man. He was shot back. He was shot from the front. It might not have been Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson might be a patsy. It could be any number of people, but that dude was shot from the front. I don't know. A lot of crazy things, a lot of crazy time. It's almost too much information in some places, but it is what it is. You just have to use discernment. Whew. Okay, last thing I want to say, and we'll take this real quick and we'll get out of here. I contacted, this is about the Public Access Counselor. This is open door law. This is about the Public Access Counselor of the state of Indiana, record request stuff. First up, I reached out to Amber Green today, communications director for the city of Muncie, and I said, hey, you told me that you would check into my records on Monday, and today's Monday, so I'm just reminding you. And what I got back from Amber was the following. I have your record request on Flatland Resources. It's ready to be picked up. Currently finishing piecing together all of the requests that you had made on Dustin. I will let you know ASAP very soon, and you'll have that, and then we'll fix we'll get the third one ready soon. So, sounds like I've got 3 record requests that'll be here soon. One of them is done. I'm going to try to pick it up tomorrow, and hopefully the Dustin one will be here soon, and it will be very, very interesting. So that's a good thing on the record request front. I'm going to talk about this more coming up, but I want to let everybody know, and I'm going to say this. This is major breaking news. A couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago maybe, right before I went on vacation, Catherine Callahan had got a hold of me and asked me if there was any way I could look into a possible car accident that occurred in Grant County, and the person in the accident would have been a Madison County employee driving a Madison County vehicle. And Catherine said, I'm hearing that there was an accident that occurred and something happened. The state police came to work the accident, and when they got there, the vehicle that he was driving, that was a Madison County highway truck, was not insured properly and was not registered. And the registration was very old, maybe 2017. And that the driver got a ticket. And I'm like, yeah, that's a big deal. So I look into that, and in very quick order, I get a copy of the accident report and the ticket. And I found it. I found those two things. So after we find them, I send it to her. She does some of what she's doing, her work, whatever. I don't really know much about it. She's doing the Madison County stuff. She gets back a hold of me and she says, this is turning into a bigger deal. I'm now hearing that there were a lot of vehicles that were apparently not insured properly and plated properly, registered properly insured and registered, and that a notice went out to all county departments to park their cars until the until everything got registered, yada da da da. So I was like, okay. She's like, I'm hearing that an email went out. Can you file a record request for this? So I sent a record request to Madison County asking for a record request for emails with this information from September 3rd through like the date, the 16th or whatever. And the attorney for Madison County responded back to me and said, there are no records responsive to your request. We're closing this out. And he did this quicker than they've done any other record request ever. The problem with him saying that is I am in possession of the email that I request. I have the email from a county employee. So one of a couple things have happened. They didn't look and he's lying to me. Or they overlooked it and it was an oversight. The problem happens when I say this is something that happens frequently with them. So I'm going to make a big deal about this, and this is going to be a big issue. This is a big issue for Madison County. We are going to teach them a lesson, and that lesson is they work for the people, not the other way around. And public record requests are important, and they must comply. And this shit of them hiding records, deleting records, or whatever they do is coming to an end. So they told me there was nothing, but I have a copy of it. So that's a thing. Now, I'm going to put a pause here. I want to answer Stumblefoot thing. This is tonight's the night for Stumblefoot and I to fight. All right. So Stumblefoot says, did the employee get his license suspended for not having insurance? And I would say, and then Stumblefoot says, ignorance of the law doesn't mean you're not guilty for breaking it. It's what the courts tell folks. That would be true if this was his personal vehicle and he's like, well, I just thought that I had another month. This is not his vehicle. This is his county. This is a vehicle that he gets into and goes to work, and he counts on his supervisors and the people above them to do what they're supposed to do. He wasn't ignorant of the fact that he needed insurance. He's assuming they're doing the thing right. I don't believe it would be on him. I don't think it's not his fault. There's nothing that he could do. This employee in no way could have got this insurance or could have got insurance on the vehicle. There's no way that he could have got the registration on the vehicle for the vehicle. Now, that's not saying that there's not some kind of punishment that does not need to be doled out here. I think that there is. Number one, I don't think that he is responsible for the no. When you see, here's the thing. They don't have regular plates like ours that they can't go and look on the sticker. They've got county plates and stuff. And so they're different. So what happens is they get them, and it's someone out of his pay grade that's responsible for that. I'm going to tell you, as a police officer, now it's a little bit different because police vehicles don't do the registration like the patrol vehicles. They train you what you are to do on a police vehicle. When you go out, you are to walk around the vehicle and make sure that there are no crashes, scratches, marks, or dings or dents at the beginning of your shift. Keep track of that. You're to turn on all of your lights. Make sure all of your lights work. Make sure all of your red and blues work. Make sure your sirens work, and da-da-da-da-da. They don't tell you to check your things and make sure that there's insurance on the vehicle. You wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be, yes, because a rental vehicle has a registration the same way a regular vehicle does. A county or city or state-owned plate doesn't, they've got a different system of registration. So it's not the same way. As a city or county employee, you wouldn't even be able to check the registration the same way. They don't normally keep that stuff in the glove box. They keep it in a different area. Maybe some stuff's with the vehicle. They normally would give you an insurance card. This is not on the employee. This is simply not on the employee. Whatever he did, he got a ticket. I've even went as far as saying that the county needs to pay the ticket. I don't believe that it's his fault. If he did something that caused the accident, that would be his fault. But the county needs to deal with that punishment. And they need to, that needs to go directly, in my opinion, to the person responsible for that, which we're trying to work on. The bigger issue here, obviously, is, in my opinion, what's the oversight on all of this? That's a bigger deal. And when we try to publicly find out about it and make sure that someone's aware, the fact that they're hiding these emails is a major issue. So I'm going to make a big deal about this. I'm just keeping you guys aware of this. The last thing I'm going to say is I contacted Jennifer Ruby, and we are on our own. Jennifer Ruby, since she came into office, she's been the only employee in that office. She's had no help. She's had no help. So everything that she's been doing, all complaints have been coming through her. She said, well, we had a couple interns that were in here like 2 days a week, and they were helping. And then we had a floater that was in here for 1 day. And so she just now got her very first person that's going to be an employee in her office, which means there's going to be 2 of them. 2 of them. I was talking to her about complaints, and she was like, well, try not to put more work on us than what we need. And I'm like, okay, she's not Luke Britt. She's never going to be Luke Britt. And I just can't wait until she gets completely in over her head, inundated, and leaves, and we get somebody different. They have completely gutted that office. They have made that office, they might as well do away with that position. And as I was talking about the other day, there's laws. We've got laws, but we have no enforcement mechanism behind the law. It's like a road that goes off to nowhere. There's the law is there, but there's nothing to back it up. Just complete nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So citizens are left with lawsuits as our only recourse. Yep. And you will file a complaint. You might file a complaint today, and they might get to it in, I don't know. And she said that so when you file a record request, she won't take a complaint sooner than 30 days. She also won't take a complaint if it's after 30 days after the denial or 30 days after when you should have filed it. Like she's got like a window of when you can file complaints. And my fear is, like, if you file it and it gets in, but they don't pick it up for 3 months, is that on her? That, to me, that's on her, but I don't know. We are on our own. So as far as public access, as far as open door, nobody's coming to save us. So everyone needs to get in check with public access laws and open door laws, and we need to be helping each other because we are on our own. Not a very good thing. All right, that's going to do it for us. I'm going to follow up more with the whole registration ticket thing and the whole deal. I am going to file a complaint against what's going on here, and I got a lot to say about what's going on because that means I have known that they have been doing this with records in Madison County. I will agree with Catherine. They are very bad with records, and I know that they lie to people. They've been hiding them and doing all this shit. And so we're going to have to teach them a lesson. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us for tonight. You guys have been great. Take care of each other, yourselves, all that shit. God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a wonderful day. We will be back here tomorrow, Tuesday night. Doesn't look like anything's going on when I get my law degree and license. I'll gladly take people's cases. I can get creative with my compensation. In some cases, I'll take pro bono. Hey, that's a good thing. Let us know what goes on with that. That would be great. Hit the like button, and we will see what goes on tomorrow. You guys, thank you very much. See yourselves out. And as Stumblefoot says, turn off the lights. Good night.